Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketing 101 for Chiropractors. Really cool guest this week, Scott Cate from 301.pro. Thanks for being here, man. I'm excited about this episode.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat about and learn some new things from you, teach some things, and see where we go.
Yes, I'm going to learn from you for sure on this one. Chiropractors, service professionals, everyone that owns their own business, especially in the healthcare field, try and do everything themselves, and they're also empowered to at least know a little bit of everything themselves. And I do that with my coaching clients because I want to make sure that they know how to delegate well. You can't do it
Hmm.
all, and you definitely can't do it all well. The only thing you can do if you're a dentist is dentistry, and the only thing you can do as a chiropractor is chiropractic really well. Everything else you're really going to suck at. So by knowing how this stuff works, you can delegate stuff like to Scott. And we're going to dive into some nitty gritty stuff about URLs, your website, and all the things that go with marketing there. So that's pretty cool. Tell us how you got into all this. I know you've been in tech your whole life, but where'd you all start?
Oh my gosh, I am a lifelong computer nerd. And I started before the internet as we know it today. So in the 90s, I was working with a company called Metasoft, which a lot of your audience will remember or may possibly still use. We had hundreds of thousands of medical and chiropractic and dental offices throughout the United States using our product, which was essentially Quicken for doctors. So medical billing, we had scheduling, we had insurance forms, which varied by state. In fact, we were part of the original founding members that sort of invented what you still use today of the HCFA 1500, which is good and bad. I have a lot of memories of, oh my gosh, that's amazing, we did it. And then, oh my gosh, that's so terrible. Like, if you could only look back 30 years and change something, I'm sure you know this. The problem with that HCFA form is like half of it says this is what you have to do, and the other half is customizable. You could do whatever you want. So the state is like, okay, put a B in this checkbox because that means something special. Meanwhile, that means nothing to the whole rest of the world.
Right. Yeah, it's full funny you brought that up. We still use it today. I still have to, it's the only thing I still have to print, put in an envelope, and send to some insurers. It's hilarious, but yeah, we still do it the old school way. So it hasn't changed since the 90s, but
Wow.
that's super cool. When it comes to marketing, especially this day and age, I mean, things are moving super fast. It's like
Yeah.
exponential growth in everything. No matter what you try and start to learn, it's not even like 10 years ago where it's like, okay, hey, let's do some Google ads. It's like, okay, you
Hmm.
go to the dashboard, you kind of figure things out. With AI and everything happening right now, things are moving super fast, and you're in the URL world. And I feel like I had my whole career with one URL with
Yeah.
5 pages on it, and the
Yeah.
contact us, the info, the about us, the doctor's page, and that was it. And now I have dozens of URLs for all the things that I do. Where do you siphon this stuff up? Where do you start? Where does this mean? What do you need to know as a solopreneur?
Okay, awesome question. Let's actually stay in the 90s for just another 30 seconds
Okay.
because some of your audience is old like me and you, and we remember. So we had these new things called URLs when the internet came out. And the URL is like, hey, go to mydomain.com. And people have to type that in. And then one day there was Google. We have this search engine that helps you find things. You're like, I need a chiropractor in Scottsdale, Arizona. And like, you didn't have to know the domain, but you could sort of search and find it. And that basically opened the internet for everything as we know it, right? That's where search engine optimization comes from. If there's 5 chiropractors in Scottsdale, who shows up first, who has the best content, like all the things that happen. Also, around that Google timeframe, we had a new company pop up called Bitly, which we love. Bitly is like the grandfather of the internet as far as link shorteners go. And Bitly, if your audience doesn't know, is a link shortener. So instead of typing in mydomain.com slash homepage slash come to my webinar, like whatever the super long URL is, or even pasting that into an ad where someone might see something, people print this in books or on their business card, like expecting somebody to type in that crazy long URL. So
Mm-hmm.
Bitly said, I'll create a link shortener, which is just a forwarding service. And here's a short link like /123. And then when people click that link, they go to the long link. And you know, that was in the 90s. And there's a ton of these out there. We used to use Tiny URL. and I'm sure people in your audience and even you can maybe think of a dozen others, but nothing's really changed in that space. You get some reporting, you get a short URL, that's a huge benefit. You can even put your own domain on front of it. So you could be, go.drenrico.com or whatever your domain is. So it can have a little bit of branding to it. But what we did is we invented a rules engine, which I'll talk about in a second. But let's talk about the number 301 for a moment. Some of your audience will know this. Do you know what a 404 is?
Yep. Error page.
So 404 is not found. Like you type in a URL that doesn't exist or an image has been moved. So 404 not found. 500 is error. Like Amazon shows you a sleepy puppy when there's an error. 301 is redirect. So our company is 301.pro. We make sort of professional link management. So that's a nod to the naming and where that came from. And really the question comes to, do people care about the links? And sometimes the answer is no. Like you said, you just have a homepage, you got a contact, you've got 5 pages on it, and you give people a business card, it just has your domain. And that's the last you've thought of your domain, in which case you're not really marketing. Like you have a listing in the yellow pages, if you will, but it's not really doing anything for you. It's just there because it's a checkbox. But if you care about your link, then you may want to add something that's dynamic. So let's go back to Bitly just for 10 more seconds. Short link to long link. If 1,000 people click the short link, they all end up at the same destination. But what if you could ask a question in the middle and then change the destination? For example, is my office open right now? Like what if your contact page knew the date and time, which with our rules engine it does. We could say, if my office is open, the contact page says call us because somebody's going to be there to answer the phone. But if my office is not open, the contact page is directed to an email us. So now, you're not setting people up for false expectation of call me and you're going to get the answering machine. You'd prefer an email anyway because it's easier to manage. Or what about we're going on vacation for June? Like the office is closed. You could just create a rule like during June, go to our office is closed page. And the magic of all of this is that the link doesn't change. It's still the /contact link. But now with the rules engine, you can make it do things on your behalf. So office open is pretty unique. The other thing that our customers often do is we'll take the URL and put it into a QR code. So we have full QR code support. QR codes are amazing. I feel like one great thing that came out of COVID is the whole world knows how to use QR codes now because of the menus and the restaurants and the taxis and everything else.
Yep.
The QR code is basically, I call it offline to online. So if you put a QR code on your business card, it's like, here, schedule an appointment with me. Now I'm no typing it in. I just use my camera and then bam, I go right to the URL that's encoded in that QR code. The problem is hard coding. If people hard code a QR code, which is all most people know how to do, it can never change. Your domain changes, you move to another state, you get a new website, that QR code's done. If somebody scans that, like it's literally just going to go nowhere. It's going to give you that 404 error page. But if you put it to a rules engine like 301 Pro, then you can just literally say, oh, my new website, when this QR code is scanned, change to go over here. So there's lots of things that we can do, but we call it link management. And that's a good intro.
It's great. That's a great intro, and you hit the demographic really well. Those are all things I think a novice marketing solopreneurs could do. Beginners you're probably over their head. The beginners that listen are just curious, right? They're on the show. They send me emails all the time. They're like, okay, you talked about that. What was that even about? I'm like, okay, you're at the beginning. And then we delegate them to the right people. They find the right people to help them, and they do it that way. I mean, most doctors are really busy to do any of this stuff. This is marketing 101 is really to teach the basics. That's why it's 101 and not fourth year university course marketing. It's first introductory, and we're doing these things, but they're super useful. Like these little things are the frustrations that happen once you start doing a little bit of your own marketing. Is you create this stuff, a year goes by, and we host an event every year, Kids Day Tampa Bay. And the URL drives me nuts. I finally bought it. I own it.com. And now if I do this, I can move it to anywhere that I want and build that one page and have the registration change every year to the new year, the new location. These are just things that are popping into my head as you're talking with that.
So let's dive in deeper to what you just said a minute, because here's the problem with an example. when you give an example, you're like, this is working perfect for me. But then someone listening is like, I don't run an event every year. Nope. Out of mind, like dismissed. Right. But let's go back into what your event is really about, a date. And so we have an event link. It's a pro link that has a date on it. And it literally says, before this date, go to registration. After this date, go to wherever you want. If it's a multi-day conference, you could say, on Monday, go here, Tuesday, go here. Like you set up the rules. And then next year, you can use the same QR code pointing to, whatever your new rules are. But again, your audience is like, I don't do an annual event, so how does that help me? Well, if your audience is doing any social media and they're promoting something like a webinar, maybe you do a Saturday class and you want people to come in, think about the webinar link. It never has to change. You can update it to registration from this week to next week to next week to the next week. You can change it so that after the webinar, it points to a YouTube video or a sales page, buy this to buy the recording. So we call it an event link, but really it's just based on a date, like before, during, after, go to these different places. And so imagine being able to promote a webinar that, say it cycles monthly, but you have printed material. Or, maybe you give it out on a business card or a flyer, or maybe you're even doing something local at a hospital for teaching, and you do it the first Saturday of every month. Print a QR code, and people scan the QR code. It always takes them to the most current material. So the event links are really popular for marketers because it's dynamic. You can put it into the wild. You don't ever have to worry about updating it.
Yes.
Sorry, I actually said that wrong. You don't have to worry about updating the source. Of course, you're updating the rules engine because that's taking you to your latest content. Right. But yeah, that's really popular for our customers.
Yeah, just with those of you with like voice over IP in the office, you can just change the events for when the voice message changes for the weekends, for the after hours, lunch break. Same thing with the links. Now, this is perfect timing for the grassroots marketing we've been talking about most of 2025 with inflation, all this stuff. Everyone's being pinched, both the consumer and the business owners, as far as marketing dollars, what they can do, what they used to do. Many of them are trying to survive. The 2021-22 boom that we had post-COVID with the influx of inflation and people spending their money was great. We got used to being lazy. And now we're feeling the effects of true inflation 100%. And we're in a recession. I mean, the government doesn't want to admit it. But we were talking about grassroots marketing. So people were like, well, what can I do for less, for less money? And you just said it. I tell people, you got to get out and network. You got to build your gang of 5, the best 5, co-businesses that integrate well with you and you guys refer back and forth. May not be in the same industry, could be in different industries. Like for me, hairdressers, restaurants, that's completely different than the other healthcare. When you're doing this stuff and you build those relationships in your local community and you start giving print material, flyers, I love leaving posters in some places with these QR codes. But unfortunately, what do I have to do? Go back with a new poster the next time I host an event. So those of you that do workshops, do regular events in the office, this is where this works, is you have that one QR code to the main site of your website. And then all you have to do is once you're done that workshop, May 15th, you turn it to, and you forward it to your July 14th workshop on fitness. So as people are going through these businesses and checking out what's going on, they know what the next event's coming up, and your registration page is always there for the next event. That's just one example that I'm just thinking as you're talking. But there's so many different ways you can integrate this and use it and maximize your efforts. Shaking hands and giving business cards is great, but you know how that all ends up. 99 out of 100 people forget about you and they throw your business card in the garbage. But
here's
this
what
stuff,
I do. Look at this. Let me interrupt you for a second. Look at the home screen on my phone. I don't give out business cards anymore. I just have people scan my QR code. It instantly creates a contact card. And then I ask them right then, I'm like, okay, now that's created. Text me so I have your number. Like that's a really good in-person thing. You're in their phone. They're in your phone. Bam.
Is that just your screensaver?
No, it's not even a screensaver. It's my background. So like
it's your background. It's on your phone all the time.
Right. So like a lot of your audience, I have 2 phones. I have work phone and personal phone.
Got it.
So my work phone, I'm like I think your office, a lot of people do that. Like scan this so that I'm in your database. In fact, that QR code probably came through so clear people can probably scan it, and then you can call me, which would be fine. I love to talk to customers.
Perfect. You're watching on the visual. Perfect. So those I have the QR code on the back of my business cards. I have it on, we don't even have our information on the front of our office. We have a QR code.
Yeah.
If you want to know when we're open or why we're closed or what's going on, you scan the QR code. We want you to go to our website because it's built that way for you to book an appointment right there, whether you're a new patient or an existing patient. So this
You
stuff
know what else
is
I think? The QR code mindset. Everyone that's in your office all day, every day, should have a QR code on the desk for Google review. Hey,
yes.
could you? You're really happy. Oh, you're leaving great. You feel good. Thanks. You want to tell your friends. You know what's better than that? Can you scan this and just send a minute and give us a live Google review? I mean, location-based marketing is. I'm not the expert like you are because I do a lot of different things. I'm really focused on that link management. But when I look at Google and if I search for food, chiropractic, something that I'm interested in, if I'm traveling, I want to see something local in the area, my eyes, the first thing they do is go to reviews. Like if you see two food restaurants of any of your choice, pizza, whatever, one has 5,000 reviews and one has 20,
Right.
like you, my brain doesn't even ask the question. It just instantly says, yes, that's the good one. So, I mean, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, whatever your fancy is, I would focus on something and just have a bunch of them there. I think I would pick Google. Maybe you have something better, but QR codes
No,
for Google reviews,
you nailed it.
super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Google, I mean, and for rankings and maps and all that stuff, they do give you a little bit of weight for your reviews too. So that's great too. Yeah, absolutely. This is useful stuff that you can be doing. So working better, not harder is my motto is just like, that's it. And if you have things where you put the effort in and simple things like URLs are broken and don't work, it's frustrating as a business owner. If you're creating it, you got no one else to blame. If you got other people that did this stuff for you in the past, ex-employees that created your landing page for you and now it doesn't work, it's frustrating
Right.
that way too. So there's ways to manage this, and it's with 301 redirects, and that's fantastic. What are some other tips that you've found recently, like in the last couple of years, that have changed? Maybe with AI, maybe not with AI, but in the marketing realm, as far as landing pages, how are people responding in the marketing? I don't know if you know much about Google ads or Facebook ads or anything like that. We use a
Intimately
lot of
familiar
their
with. Yeah.
okay, they're in forms. So we use a lot of
Yeah.
their built-in forms, and you can capture a lot of information like that. And the frustration in healthcare is that you can't get them on the phone.
Right.
And I found landing pages to be better. If you're going to go into some special offer or technique or something people haven't heard about before, chiropractic is a little bit more popular now than it was even in the 90s. In the 90s, I think
Mm-hmm.
you would need landing pages to explain what an adjustment is. Today, the informs, people are filling them out. They know what they're getting a discount on a chiropractic adjustment. But let's say like decompression or the new kind of shockwave stuff that are people doing. People don't know about this stuff. You
Right.
can't just get their info off of a Google form and hope for the best. This is where you want redirects and landing pages to maybe give them even more information. How does that work? How would you do that from your perspective on marketing to be more effective?
So links work in a lot of places. Like the entire internet is built on hyperlinks. You click a link, you scan a QR code, and you go somewhere. In what you described, you click an ad, you fill out the form, and you're done. That form gets posted to your back end system, Go High Level, HubSpot. Could be email if you're just sending something to, through Zapier to a Google spreadsheet. Lots of people do lots of different things, but hyperlinks are everywhere. So this is a little bit outside of 301, but to answer your question, what I would do with that form is I would have some SMS automation set up and I would ask permission to send someone a text message. Clearly they're interested. They're giving you your contact information. Say, hey, can we text you? By giving us this number, you agree that we can text you information. And the very first thing that I text people is it's called a V card, .vcard. And that is add me to your address book. And then that's going to let a lot of things happen in the future. Like if I call that person, I'm going to show up not from caller ID, but from the name on my contact card.
Mm.
And now I can talk to people, assuming that they've added the virtual card. And I think it's about 60% actually do it because remember, they just gave me the information. Like if you fill out a form, you say, hey, Scott, please contact me. And then I send you a text message that says, hi, this is Scott. Like it's pretty It's pretty good. So I use that trick a lot, and that's in the text messaging space. And you can send text messages a lot of ways. But what you never, ever, ever, ever want to do is send someone a text message that didn't ask for it. That's
Right.
almost an immediate shutdown.
Yeah.
I think Twilio has this thing. There's this new concept in text messaging where you need approval. I think it's called a 10 DLC.
It's a 10
which is
DLC, A2P verification. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it basically has to say, I'm a real company. These are the types of messages that I'm going to send. And if I break that, then whoever my text message provider is going to shut me down. Or if I get
Yeah.
too many spam requests.
Yeah.
But you just filled out the form. And so I'm going to send you this. You're very unlikely to click spam on that because like, hey, this is Scott. You just asked for information. Here's my virtual card. Get it into the address book. And now when you call or send a text message, you're sort of in list there. So that's a trick that I do. I sort of went on that rant because you mentioned one thing of in healthcare, we're not allowed to call. And maybe there's something with HIPAA. Maybe there's something with marketing rules that I don't know about. Maybe it's different outside of healthcare. But that's sort of where I went down that. My brain was like, get into the user's address book. And
Smart.
you could do that through text message.
Yeah, that's great. Because if they get that first text and you do make that call, an hour later, because you're in the office and it shows up as full life chiropractic, I mean, they're more going to answer that than a local number where no one answers anymore. What I was saying about that was when you get all the. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add one last little detail that's really important. When you add a virtual card to the address book, you can put more than one phone number in it. You can also put your email in it and your website in it. It's like an address book entry. So make sure you include the phone number that the message is coming from. That's your automated number, but also the phone number you're going to be calling from, which could be a cell phone, could be an office number or something else. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
Good tip. Great tip. Because your CRM is going to have a separate Twilio number. And then you want to add your office number, your office email, your address. I'd put that all on the V card for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Where I was going was with capturing lead form, it's autofill for most people because they're using their device and your name, phone number, email is all saved in there. So when you go across these end forms, it autofills. And what we're noticing more and more in 2024, 2025 is that we get a lot of leads. And we're like, wow, the cost per lead isn't changing over the last 2 years, unlike Google, where it's always going up. Well, it actually is going up. It's just that a lot of these autofills are becoming so quick that when we do get them on the phone or call them, they're like, I don't remember filling that up. I don't know who you are.
Right.
And it was literally like 25 minutes ago. Like, I don't know what your problem is. But
I'm guilty of that, by the way. I have done that where I've filled out maybe 3 things in a row and I was like, which one are you again? Like I was buying a shed and, so I was like, yeah, call me. Yeah, call me. Yeah, call me. But what you don't know, well, anyway, so somebody calls you and you're like, which one is? I'm guilty of what you're describing.
Right. So there you go. And that's where I was saying URLs in landing pages, you get maybe less leads for sure, because there less of them are going to go to it, read it, watch the video, and fill out a form, and then book an appointment. But they're way more responsive. They are more likely to come in as a new patient. They're more likely to know what you're talking about once you get them on the phone. So there's 2 ways to play this with the automations and all this. So that's where my question was going. Where do you see the user engagement on the marketing side from the consumer side becoming more responsive? Because they're becoming less responsive. These text messages, you won't even get a response anymore. People don't even listen to them anymore. Good luck with voicemails. Calls are dead. No one wants to take a phone call. Emails were doing really well the last few years. And I feel like even that now is back to needing to send people a lot more emails. So I feel like there's this up and down with communication.
The text messaging, especially with the appointment reminders, is a really good way to, if you can get your appointment reminders and your conversation on the same phone number, I feel like that's a really good connection point. But I fully agree with you that the landing page is going to give me less leads, but much more higher quality leads. And here's the first thing that I teach people when they're building a landing page, if they're using 301 Pro. And this will increase your conversion rate. I don't have a scientific number, but I will tell you that it works. And after I describe this, you're like, oh, that's a really nice thing. On your website, whoever's creating your landing page, have them add a theme switcher for light mode and dark mode. And what we do with 301 Pro is a rules engine. We say, if it's daytime, say it's 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., take them to the light mode. If it's 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. or whatever the rules are that you decide, then take them to the dark mode. And I say that, and people don't know what light mode, dark mode is. Light mode is a solid white, bright background that you can see, great for daytime. Dark mode is usually black background with white text, much more pleasing to see in the evening. So if you're doing social media or ads, you have no control over when somebody's going to actually click that link and end up on your landing page. But you can build in a theme switcher that just says, literally it's in the URL, so mydomain.com, theme equals dark, or theme equals light. And if your default theme is light, then you never even have to do that. But you can say theme equals dark when it's overnight, and that increases your conversion rate with just that one simple thing, because people aren't blinded by your phone in the middle of the night when they're on your webpage to try to fill out the form, and they don't escape, they don't leave. So like that little thing, light mode, dark mode, based on time of day is helpful.
Right, that's great. But you wouldn't be able to do that because you're not going to create 2 landing pages with your own redirects. So, but you can with 301 Pro. See, super cool. Great, that's a great tip too. Yeah, any things you're seeing coming up in the horizon as far as wherever you want to talk about moving forward? Keep us on the edge of our seats here. Yeah. What should we look forward to as far as in healthcare moving forward?
So AI is everywhere, right? AI. I would say it gets a little bit more advanced if you're in the beginner stage. I would not get disappointed because something's more advanced and you can't accomplish it today, but you got to start somewhere. I always tell my kids, if you just do one thing a month, I'm sorry, I messed that up. If you do one thing a day, it's only one thing a day, but at the end of the month, you have accomplished a whole bunch. And I sort of tell my one-on-one conversations the same thing. You got to just do something. And sometimes it's discouraging to talk about something more advanced because they're like, I'm never going to get there. I don't even have my front door open. How am I going to, build a new bathroom or whatever? So as we get into a more advanced conversation around AI, I'd like to just put your mindset into the what's possible mode, not necessarily can I have that today mode, but I'll tell you a couple things that we are doing. So when you send a text message, there is a preview often that opens with that text message. And there's some rules about it. If you're in the address book or if you're iPhone or Android, things work differently. But if I text you a URL, that URL has a preview. And most of your audience will know this. They can see they got inundated with them during the political campaigns. And the message that comes along with the image that comes along with the text message can be customized. And it can be customized by our rules engine. So one of the things that we do is we take a single product and we ask AI, show me this product in 100 different versions. And I think your office could actually do this. There's a lot of tools online. You could even have someone getting an adjustment on a table or a calendar or a nice office setting, a front door. But then you say, show me this picture when it's raining, when it's snowy, when it's less than 30 degrees outside, when it's sunny and windy, when it's on a beach, when it's in a background, and also do those same variations for morning, noon, and night. So you might have a breakfast conversation that is different than a dinner conversation. Same person. Like, Dr. Enrico, if I call you at 8 a.m. or midnight, are we going to have the same conversation? Like,
no.
People are different, right? Based on time of days. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you take this one image and you get AI different, 100 different versions of that. We can then use the rules engine to load the image on demand for the text message, or using an image on your homepage, for example. And so it's our belief that you can market in real time to the person who clicked the link by identifying their location, time of day, and the weather at the location. And obviously that scales with a bigger, more international or national franchise, for example. Right. But I think there's some use cases there for a smaller environment as well, smaller marketing campaign. And even if you go all the way back to the beginning and you only do light mode, dark mode, that's a step forward. That's sort of like opening the front door. Yeah, and it'll be exciting to you because if you scan your QR code at night, you'll go to dark mode. During
Right.
the day, you go to light mode. Like
Yeah.
those little tiny cracks in the dam create floods later. But if there's no crack now, like it'll never happen to get more advanced.
So true. Yeah, it's like the early ClickFunnels days. You had to test different colors, test the landing pages against one another, and then the orange button works way better than the. But
Exactly.
you got to test and run it. So that's great tips. Thanks for being on the show. This is really great. Go to 301.pro. Check them out. And if you have anything that you're going to offer at this, I'll put it in the text descriptor
Okay.
of the podcast, so everyone can just click the link and learn more about you. But I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.